Hi, everyone, and we are back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week, we are wrapping up Women's History Month with a great guest host, social media sensation, that band teacher lady, Jacqueline. We salute our band directors for Music in Our Schools Month, and we find out what made Woody say.
He would throw his keys at me. Flaky, what are you doing?
And what made Austin say.
If you trust your technique program, you won't have to change half of your show midway through the season.
All this and more. So get out there on the field and we'll see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I am Nicole Younger. We're super excited to be here starting our new format this week, but on that in a second. So right now, we just need to find out who is on the sidelines this week. So let's see. Oh, my girl, Trish.
Hi, everyone.
Trish, hey, girl.
Hi.
How was the Bethlehem Regional?
It was a blast. I mean, it was just a great weekend of color guard. Wish my kids would have had a little bit better run, but they just got a little stage fright, big lights, big city. But we had a great time. They had a great time. So all good. I mean, we can talk later about who I thought were the standout performances, but all in all, a great weekend.
Good. Oh, and let's see. We have Austin, new wins person, who
Hello.
did a recap. Hey, Austin.
How are you guys? Good?
Doing well. We're just here good and gush.
Always.
And then we have Stephanie, who was in Hawaii.
And I have on my shirt that says Aloha.
Aloha.
We just took a band trip to Hawaii. We had 112 kids and parents. It wasn't a mandatory trip, but we took them for 5 days to Honolulu, Waikiki.
Wow.
We had an amazing time. So I'm back to reality.
I know. And we are all secretly wishing that we were you.
100.
Okay, go home, son.
Right? Be like, I'm sorry, I got lost. I accidentally slept through my alarm. They believe that. That's not me saying something that didn't happen.
That's right.
And then we have Woody. Did you hear anything about the recent episode involving the Crossman ladies?
I tell you what, the excitement through my email is going up pretty big. A lot of chatter. A lot of people enjoyed the conversation, and I can tell you what, the girls were super psyched. They kept going for about 2 or 3 days afterwards. Man,
that's incredible.
We get a chance to talk about that a little bit more as the program goes on.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have an amazing guest host for this episode because it's Women's History Month and Music in Our Schools Month. So let's get the band teacher lady over here on the sidelines. Hello, Jacqueline.
Hello.
I remember last time you were on, and I was watching. I had to take a minute and look through your Instagram and everything, and I was just like, "Oh, she's funny! I can't believe she has time to do this." And
I don't either.
Time. I think it was great, and we're so happy to have you back. So you have done our 32 count life story already.
Yes.
But how about you just give our listeners a quick 16 count catch up on what's been going on in your world?
Well, I am still a high school band director. We are now entering our winter season, and we just came back from Disneyland, and I have no idea how I'm awake right now. So.
Did you literally come back today?
We came back on Monday, and then we were thrown into rehearsals for a competition this Saturday for Winter Guard and Drumline.
Wow.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Literally get out there on the floor. Oh, wow. So you're known for many funny things on your social media, like I said, but one thing that remains consistent is your utter hatred for brass players. And maybe more specifically trumpets.
Maybe just a
Yeah.
little.
So where does this deep-seated hate come from?
Okay, so I guess to kind of clear the air, I don't really hate trumpet players. They're obnoxious, but I don't really hate them.
I do.
It's
true.
just something I don't know. I think it's just I've had years of being in front of trumpet players, and just they're just so loud in my ear. The ensemble that I play in right now, I am right in front of the lead trumpet player, and every time he goes hi, my ear screams. So
Oh, you know what though? I mean, yes, I would not want to be in front of a screamer trumpet player. However, that is one of my most favorite things to listen to. I love to hear screamer trumpet players on the field, not
on the field,
in the,
yes.
yes, on the field.
There's a distance on the field.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. So we completely understand that. So we've been doing this podcast for over a year now, and we have done everything like Good Marching Arts Organization and reshuffled our show. So we used to start with our Gush and Goes. Okay. So we're moving on to an interview. And then finally, what are we doing? And then the news. Now, since our panel has grown and our podcast is taking off, we decided it's time to switch things up and we really move things around. So we have taken our main interviews and we have made them into videos that will air on our YouTube channel. So go check that out. And we still are available on our podcast platform as just bonus episodes. So what does this mean for this episode? Well, this means today we're starting with the news. All right, our first news is going to be from Woody.
Well, okay, here we go. So, unlike Stephanie, who took the awesome band trip, unfortunately, we had a band trip this month that did not go quite the way we wanted it to go. A group from Michigan, West Michigan, they took a band trip to Disney World. We've all done that every 4 years. Carson City, they took a trip and they had an unfortunate accident. Yes. They had a bus fire. Can you believe it? On this bus fire, they lost their instrumentation, uniforms, personal stuff, and yeah, I know. It sounds kind of sucky, right? But actually, community came together for them. They got lots of donations. Shout out to the local music store there. They provided the band with instrumentation. Meyer Music, that was the name of the place. It slipped my mind for a moment. Shout out to them. They provided the band with equipment to work with, and they were able to continue the trip with the exhibition and everything. And the bus company was able to sport them a new bus. And actually, the local community gave the kids blankets and pillows and stuff to make the ride back to Michigan. And in the end, it turned out pretty well. The band director, who was super happy for all the community reaching out to them, was very, very surprised how well the band handled that situation. And I guess to me, reading through the article and everything, I was like, I'm not surprised because usually we do very well when it comes to adversity like that.
Definitely.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it sucks, everything. I mean, it's not just, instruments and, uniforms that belong to the school, but it's those band kids' personal things too,
Computers, phones. Oh God, not the phone.
We had something similar
that far
last
away
year.
from home. Like as a parent, I cannot even imagine getting that phone call.
No.
Hi,
We had
Mom,
something
the bus
similar
is
happen
on
last
fire.
year on our
Yeah, right.
trip.
But and this article, just hearing you talk about it, made me think. And my husband and I talk about this a lot during drum corps season. As many miles as we have in our music community that puts miles on the bus year round, we are so lucky that we don't hear about this every single day.
We are very fortunate with the activity. Yes.
Very true. Very true. Jacqueline, what were you about to say?
Oh, I was going to say we had something similar happen last year when we went to our Palm Springs trip. We shared a trip with the whole district. And as soon as the school bus from the other school got on the freeway, their hatch opened, and that was the night that the director didn't want to unload the instruments. And so about 15 band instruments just fell off on the freeway in the middle of Los Angeles. And yeah, thankfully, only I think a bass clarinet and a clarinet was destroyed, but everything else was salvageable.
So I used to be a hornline player. Like I was a baritone player in high school. And I know how important, just because, yes, instruments are a lot of money, but to a marching member, those, instruments become like, okay, well, especially when you get a brand new one as a teenager. I mean, I named mine. If a card, I know it was called Tinkerbell.
All right.
She was so cute. It was a Yamaha. And if a color guard member even got close to me, I would just put it down. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're just way too close. I don't want a dent. I know you're doing great, but I don't want a dent.
Well, it's after reading the article, I just thought about all of the teams that take trips down there, and it's so positive. Like Stephanie said, it's such a positive thing that we don't hear these kind of accidents happen more often. And I'm super excited that the community reached out and helped them, because you look forward to these trips when you're taking that band trip, and
Absolutely.
when something like that happens,
it's bad. It throws a monkey wrench in your whole trip.
In the whole trip. And I hate to put it this way, but I think people in the real world don't quite handle it as well as we do, because we just tend to bond as people of the arts tend to bond a lot easier than just your regular.
Absolutely. We're built different.
Yes. And I was very happy to hear that still, it's been so long since I've been in that position as a kid, that community still lives that way.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. Trish has a hot article from the New York Times.
I do, and I grabbed this one right away, being a big sports fan. Those of you who know me well, I'm as big a color guard fan as I am. I'm a huge sports fan as well, so I grabbed this one right away. Obviously, this is a super hot topic. Those of you who follow collegiate sports, this is a hot topic. Well, the New York Times picked up on it. And apparently they've talked to a basketball player at Dartmouth College. The Dartmouth College basketball team just voted to unionize. Now, those of you who know kind of a background of what's going on in college sports right now, these athletes are really, they've kind of fought the last few years for, we're sacrificing time that we could be moving on to professional sports to play for you, and you're making all the money. The universities and everybody else are making all the money. The leagues are making all the money off of kind of their product, kind of what their performance. So there's a lot of teams, including this one, specifically called out Dartmouth College, where the players are unionizing. Now, what does that have to do with, the headline of the story, how is marching band different? Well, if these guys, these players are on the field, performing, and now they want a piece of the pie, who's to say that the college marching band also performing, also bringing maybe not as many people in, but some people in to watch their products? Why don't they, how come they're not getting a piece of the pie now? And how come now where does it stop? This is a whole can of worms. Like I said, I'm a huge sports fan. I follow sports. I listen to I know this sounds really geeky, but I listen to a ton of sports radio. Call me out. It's fine. But
not geeky at all, Trish.
Okay,
not geeky.
Okay, good. So, where's the line going to be drawn? Now, even in the background, I have muted an NCAA basketball game. I know, but where's that going to stop? Now these kids are playing in the pep bands. Should they be getting a piece of the pie now? Are they working as hard? Or how about the people selling concessions? So this is a whole hot topic in collegiate sports right now. And, they're really doing this because they want to keep the kids longer. They want to try to avoid the one and done situations where, in the past where these really, really top athletes with this, bright future in professional sports, they're doing the one and done thing where they're playing, and now these teams are not reaping the benefits of, having them for 4 years. So, everybody kind of wants a piece of the pie now. So where does it stop? Now we go back to the other debate of, does the football team work as hard as the marching band? Well, we all have our opinions on that, but now should they get a piece of the pie? So, New York Times, a really good article on the New York Times website if anybody wants to check it out. It's a hot topic right now and it's worth checking out.
That's so true. I mean, we all look at different marching band. I know that there's a bunch of college marching bands that people will talk about before they talk about their, football team or anything like that. And yeah, a bunch of college athletes too, because, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to watch, the women's Final Four or whatever because of they have that basketball player in Iowa
Exactly.
who's really good.
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, she's incredible.
Killing it.
Dude, I am not a sports ball person. However, if someone's telling me that this person's breaking records and things like this, I want to see what they can do, That'll make me
Do
watch
it.
some sports
Exactly.
ball.
See, you know what? Your problem is you don't listen to sports radio like me and Trish.
That's right.
I don't.
That's right.
I need to. I should probably start doing that. And I feel where that's coming in. But we also had who was it, Will Hanseltine, who had the endorsement with Quick Trip, the local convenience store. Like there's things like that. So there's different places where, these athletes are going to be endorsed. It's just like honestly, it's almost like they're becoming influencers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They are influencers.
Definitely.
They are influencers.
Definitely.
This guy can fly like Mike, I'm doing air quotes. And, so we might even see t-shirts. Not t-shirts, sneakers.
Oh, definitely.
We might see, all kinds of different things. So
I think a lot of that is the problem, that the college players can't benefit from the endorsements and things like that, and they're not getting paid.
Which is why they leave, and you almost really can't blame them. I mean, you can have this discussion all day long, should you stay in the 4 years and get your college degree, or should you grab that bag while you can? You know what I mean? It's a hot topic.
I had to tell you, I'm torn, because I'm like, well, you're going to school for free. I mean,
That
dry
too.
your eyes.
That too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do get what they're saying, some of these programs, like this weekend, the money that's going to pass through the college network is incredible,
Wow.
and America is going to be glued to the seats for Caitlin Clark. You better get your sports radio there, Nicole.
And right now, the bands will see none of it.
1000%, which we could debate all day. I mean, we've had this debate, in the past, when they have those little side-by-side comparisons to how many hours does the football team practice compared to how many hours does the marching band practice, we can
That's
go
why
back
we
and
get
forth.
to go to Hawaii like Stephanie.
Well,
That's true. That's true.
All right, Austin, you got one for us too?
I do. Speaking of shoe endorsement deals, kind of transitioning on the same note, Drum Corps International has reached a deal with the sock brand Apala to become the official recommended sock of DCI.
Ooh,
I was just kind of reading the article. Apala socks promotes with their what makes them different. They promote arch support, ankle stability, energy absorption, and graduated compression, I marched drum corps a lot. I did 4 years. By my fourth year, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all of you could probably say the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I always wore just like the regular Walmart sock brand, like the ones that you can get for like a pack of like 15 for like $10 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I threw them away at the end of the season because it was cheaper.
Yep.
I really hope that Apala can come in and just like give some deals to active members and be like, hey, here's a discount code, or hey, here's like one free pair for each marching member type deal. That would be great. Just so that every performer has the opportunity to get into something that will help them stay in the activity for longer.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who had ankle injuries and other kind of foot injuries, turf toe, you name it.
Heel spurs. I had really bad heel spurs.
Thing.
Yep.
I guess it's going to work because, now that they have this new committee, this MASH committee, the Marching Arts and Health and Safety Committee thing, I think this is a step in a very positive direction with that. It may seem small, but you got to start somewhere, right?
That's
Definitely.
right.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Nothing like fake that blister.
Right.
Exactly. And I'm hoping with the new CEO turnover that that the new board and the new administration within Drum Corps International can actually start turning over more sponsorship deals like this, which could actually help fuel the longevity of DCI as a whole. And like what he said, we all have to start somewhere. If it starts with a sock brand deal, it starts with a sock brand deal.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
I have two things to say about that. The first is that I saw this headline earlier this week and I did not click on it because I thought the way I read the headline, and this is on me, but the way I read the headline was that they had DCI socks like in their merchandise store, like stamped with the DCI. That's the way
That was my first reaction too.
I was like, I will never wear those. I don't have to click on this. But then my second part is, my kids are both marching, very different sections, but I just need one discount code and maybe even not. I mean, I haven't priced them, but I use that DCI recommended shoe list every single year because you have one kid that's in the front ensemble. He literally just stands.
Right.
And you think that that's an easy thing to do, but
it is not.
oh my gosh, the shin splints and the fallen arches and all of that with him, it's a real thing. And then my daughter's in the guard, so I mean the same thing, but she has really high arches, and so she also has the fallen arches, and I'm worried about the support on her feet. So they go through 2 sneakers. We do another pair. They do one at move-ins, and then we get another pair kind of mid-tour. But I always use that recommended shoe list, and so they will each at least have one pair of socks this year from Apollo, but I would be willing to do more. The feet,
Nice.
it's a huge deal. You got those.
It is.
You got one pair of feet or two feet, whatever.
Even if they stink.
Life.
Even if they stink, right? Yeah.
Right. Treat the feet good, the knees will be okay. Usually.
Yes.
Usually.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that things are going, because like you have your Dinkles, everyone knows about those.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have your Apollos. We have the Under Armour, like the dry fit.
Yes.
So we'll have a whole I guess you could say a recommended list of things that you should buy.
Yeah.
From head to toe at some point.
Yeah.
Someone make a list for band
episode,
directors because
right?
I don't know what to wear when I stand.
Right.
My feet hurt just from standing.
Okay, everyone. So it's time to give the band director a moment to breathe. And then we'll let them sit in the bleachers and watch some of this next rep. And then we'll be right back to tell our stories about them.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
All right. So we have Whitney here who is late to rehearsal. Sorry.
Late to rehearsal. That's some push-ups, isn't it?
I'll do them later, I promise.
It could have all been rectified with some Starbucks. And then I heard you had pizza and we didn't have any.
I did have pizza and then I threw it on my bed. So I don't have pizza.
Okay, that's all right, Kirk. We are happy to have you here. So it is Music in Our Schools Month, and today we're going to celebrate all of those amazing band directors out there. So we asked our host and our guest clinician to give us a great or a funny story about a band director in their life. So let me start with, since you just got back from Hawaii and you're wearing aloha, and she's kind of giving it to us, but kind of not giving it to us like you were there. So we're going to start with Stephanie.
All right.
Aloha.
Aloha. So my band director story is I grew up in a really small town in Kentucky. It was Beaver Dam, Kentucky. It is as small as you think that it is when you hear the name. And all of the band directors that came through our county were very revered. Band was a huge thing in our county. There's not a lot to do. So the whole time that I was growing up in high school, like we didn't have a soccer team when I was in high school. We didn't have a volleyball team, so really the cool thing to do was to be in the band. And that it was, kind of countywide, one county high school in our whole district there. And so, the band directors were a huge deal. But when I came into high school, I knew that I wanted to be in color guard, but I really loved playing my flute. And so to be in color guard in my high school, you had to be a musician. You had to play in concert.
Wow.
And looking back now, I can see how our guard was really great, especially being from such a small town. But I think it was because we understood all the musical concepts when we picked up a flag for the first time. We knew how to count. We understood pulse and tempo and rhythm and how to count a measure. And, we knew all of that. But my band director was also a color guard person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so Keith Geyer choreographed our entire color guard, wrote the drill for our high school. Like he did the whole thing.
Wow. I love that.
Yes. I mean, and now to me, that was just normal when I was growing up. I now understand what an anomaly that was. But with all of that to say that he just set a really great example of if you like something, if you're interested in it, learn how to do it. So if it's color guard, learn how to do it. If you want to learn to write drill, learn how to do it. If just set that, where just for me, still being involved in the marching arts, I wanted to know about percussion. I wanted to understand how to choreograph for them. So I just dove in and did it. And so, looking back on so many of the steps in my life, it really did go back to my high school band director and the example that he set, not only for me, but for all of us. And we all know and love our band directors, but I really do think that I had a special one.
You did. And I do feel like that speaks volumes of you because I look at you as a do-it-all kind of person, and you were taught by a do-it-all kind of person.
I was. Yes, definitely set the example.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Wow. Okay. I love these stories. Jacqueline, hello.
Hello.
All right. Don't tell a story about yourself, okay?
I wish I could. So I don't really have a funny story, just more of I can't not mention this person. In high school, we had a high turnover for directors. Like my freshman year, we had one director who just left, so someone else came in. My sophomore year, someone else, and then my junior year, we had a director come in, and I don't know what it was about him, but I was already toying with the idea of becoming a director in the first place, and he was the person that solidified that this is what I wanted to do with my life. Like he came in, he was so cool. He was like this fresh out of college, 27-year-old teacher, and I don't know what it was, but we were all drawn to him. He's like this big jazz guy. He tried to do marching band for field show, and it was a hot mess, but we still loved him. But he was such a big impact on myself and my family that I remember my family kind of took him in a little bit sometimes. And whenever my dad would barbecue for the weekend, I brought him a plate one day, and every time after that one day I brought it to him, he's like, "Did your dad barbecue this weekend? Can you bring me a plate?" Every weekend he was asking for barbecue.
Can you bring me a plate?
Yeah. And so now he's technically one of my colleagues. Now he's in 2 towns over. And so Mr. Modesto, you have no idea what you did for me. So
he's still Mr., right?
Oh.
Still Mr.
He's still Mr. I go to his competition. He hosts a fall marching competition, and I can't call him by his first name. So I will now, Ruben Modesto, but I can't call him by his first name. It's weird.
Right. No matter how old you get, you have to still call them Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Band director person, sir. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh. All right, Woody, I want to hear your band director story.
Oh, I have to tell you, Nicole, I don't want to make it sound like this is a testimonial moment in our show, but I got one too.
Good.
So when I was in high school, I'm from Philadelphia, and so it was more of urban setting and everything. And the band director was a old German white guy, Crazy Larry. That's just what we called him, Crazy Larry.
Crazy Larry.
But I have to tell you, this man really gave a lot to us. And, he reached out and he did things for us that, wasn't happening anyplace else but at band. And I think a lot of that rubbed off on me because I'm the same way with my students too. If he would see you walking home from school, he'd tell you, come on, jump in the back of the truck. In the summertime, he would have like 2 or 3 pool parties for kids who were in a band at his house. Just lots of small things, introducing us into different kinds of music that you never would have considered listening to had you not met this man. So when we looked at the script and said, hey, think of something on a band story, it immediately popped in my head. Larry Alter, the most awesome band director ever. And he never called me by my name. He called me Flaky.
Aww.
He would throw his keys at me. Flaky, what are you doing? Actually, he would use language. Jesus, beep, beep, Christ, Flaky, get in line. So he was a great man, great leadership.
It's funny how things have changed because it's like, doing some of those things now, it's just like, oh, you have to think, oh,
yeah,
can I, Yeah, like, oh, I want to throw a party for my kids because I know that, maybe they can't do it themselves.
Right.
Or, oh, it's raining and this kid is walking home from school. Maybe I should give him a ride. Well, we got to think again about putting the kid in the car, I'm
now
not
you the documents now.
Right. And I hate to say this, but even the throwing of keys, like I had a band director that did that too, but they wouldn't throw them at you. They just throw them at your stand.
Yeah. Right. It's just that it's 100 keys. Like
the janitor's closet keys.
Yeah. I have a picture in my scrapbook. It's my junior year of high school. The county paper was running a thing on like band camp has started. And there are 2 staff members that are holding a clipboard because, it's paper drill, holding a clipboard, and they both have cigarettes in their hands.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
It's unbelievable.
One thing about that when I was in high school, it was like, not for me, but go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, right. I'm going to learn my drill either way.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Trish, what's your story?
Okay, so when we were posed this question, I was like, okay, I don't want to leave anybody out because I would just feel horrible. So I've worked with so many amazing band directors over my career. Teddy Soteropoulos at Northern Highlands, Bob Vitti at Portchester, first one to give me my start. Long story, but
wait a minute, time out. Portchester.
I did one year when I was super young, did not know what I was doing. It didn't end up working out, but it was definitely a groundbreaking experience for me.
Man.
Yeah. Obviously, we've talked about her a lot and had her on the podcast, Heidi Sarver at University of Delaware. The list goes on and on. The first band director that I worked with at Northern Valley, Kurt Ebersole, definitely groundbreaking. But the person I'm really going to shout out today is the current band director at Northern Valley Old Japan, which is Amy Wilcox. When she took over the program, she told me, someday we're going to have a winter guard. Now, before that, the band was just a football game band, which allowed me opportunities to go to other schools and work with their competitive guards. But, when she first took it over in 2013, she said to me at the first meeting at her house, someday we're going to have a winter guard. Someday we're going to have a championship band. Someday all these things are going to happen. So as the years went on, I ended up giving up all my other commitments and focusing on them. I was also working with West Milford at the time. I gave all that up so that I could, bring them to where they needed to be competitively because we had a band director that was going to make that happen. So in 2016, lo and behold, we started the Northern Valley Winter Guard. So, eventually it all happened. It's been an uphill climb, but it's been a really successful program. So Amy Wilcox, you kept your word to me and you remind me of it every time. The band is really successful now. won 2 state titles, a national title in the last couple of years. And she reminds me every time we win something and she hugs me, she goes, remember that first meeting? I told you this was all going to happen. I told you this was going to happen. And she reminds me of that every single time. So Amy Wilcox, girl, thank you.
Yes.
Love that.
You guys, you're making me want to like meet these people. I love it. All right, Austin, what's your story?
All right. So I actually have 3 people that I really want to shout out, but I'm gonna focus really on one. So my very first middle school director is the one I really want to focus on. It's Jennifer Eisenhower. She was my very first middle school band director. She was the one who I had like growing up. I have no family who's involved in marching arts, and like my dad, sports guy through and through, and just my family is all sports. And so I don't think I'll ever forget, she was probably the best recruiter I have ever seen to this day. And middle school band directors now, it's a lost art, in my opinion, because
yes, definitely.
The gateway to a great high school program is an even better middle school program.
1,000%.
Absolutely. 1,000%. I will live and die by that day and night for as long as I'll live. And she was just the model of a great middle school director. She was really engaging with all of us, and really just trying to make it fun and really make it accessible for everybody, and just trying to get as many people in. And obviously when you're going into like the whole band recruitment thing and you pitch a Disney trip in 8th grade, how can you say no to that, right?
How can you say no, right?
That's kind of what got me. That's what got me in, but it's not necessarily what got me hooked. She got me hooked by just being a phenomenal teacher and caring about every single one of her students. And we're still friends on Facebook to this day. I'll chat with her every so often and just be like, oh, hey, how you doing? And another middle school band director, she ended up moving on like halfway through 7th grade. She had a kid. She ended up having a kid and then stepped away for a little while, and I think moved down to Arkansas. Chris Hardesty was the guy who really instilled my love for drum corps. He's still an instructor at the Blue Stars to this day, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a competitive person. He got me kind of hooked on the whole drum corps thing, and he was the one who really made me want to be a visual instructor too. So that's what I do today. And then Keith James is he's my high school band director, and I still work with him. I still work at my alma mater. I still write choreography for them. I'll do some consultation for them. Even though I live in Florida, I'll go up to North Carolina, and all those people have just had a lasting effect on my marching career and my teaching career as well. And it's just been a blessing to have those people in my life, and to still have those people in my life.
Wow.
That's very cool.
Austin, you're from North Carolina. I'm from Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I totally get that. Where in North Carolina were you?
I'm from the Charlotte area. I went to Marvin Ridge High School for the color guard people who know.
We do.
I know Go Mavs. I was not a color guard person, so I wasn't that good, you know. But had a lot of great colleagues, and I've marched alongside of a lot of great people who were involved in that program.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Whitney, girl, I haven't seen you in a minute.
Hi.
By the way, hi. Hello. How are you?
Oh boy. Yes. I'm here.
Yeah. Do you have a band director story for us?
I can't think of like a specific story. I also had a lot of band directors. I also grew up in North Carolina, Austin. I grew up in Western North Carolina. So I had a lot of band directors. There was like when I was going through high school, I think we had a new band director every single year.
Oh gosh.
But one that sticks out to me, her name is Amy Palo, and I don't think she teaches band anymore, but she was awesome, and I just remember her being really inspiring, and she made a lot of us want to continue music. And there was a point in time where I thought I was going to go to school for music and be a flautist. but then I started doing color guard, and that kind of took over. But I played flute all the way through high school. And the college I went to Western Carolina, and a lot of my band directors had gone to Western Carolina, and there was like it was right down the road. So there was a group of us that went to Western because we wanted to be in the marching band there. And many of us wanted to continue music. So I don't know. We had even though we went through a lot of band directors in my like 7 years of band, we had a lot of really good ones. And I don't know. I can't think of anything like super specific though. Like I can't think of like a story, but I had a lot of good band directors that kept us engaged and involved. And I didn't go to a big high school, so we had to we had to do a lot of different things. So there were a lot of us that were in band and did color guard and, all the clubs and sports and stuff. So I don't know. I just can't think of anything specific, but I had good people around me.
That's good. Yeah. That's awesome. Jacqueline, you've got to be getting like my kids are, thinking about me this way. And that they have to be, because they probably know about your social media and they're like, oh, my band director's funny. And she has a social media channel. So I guess I've called on everybody except for myself. So the way that I think about this is I didn't have a lot of band directors going through high school and middle school. And the way that high school was set up for me is my middle school band director was also the assistant band director in my high school.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the way that they worked out. And it also worked out that they went to college together at UT. So my middle school band director, who is still a band director to this day at a different high school, Mr. David Webb. And he was the sole reason why I switched from clarinet to baritone. And then while I became so much better at baritone than I was on clarinet. And my high school band director was Mr. Cook. His name is Leif Cook, and he's actually the band director at Dobbins Bennett High School now. And he has been there for a couple of years. So, yeah, he's been there for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to see him now, as a band director, old and gray, because we got him when he was fresh out of college and they were all, young and spry. But I can remember when we were, having rehearsal and we were playing and we were just going, doing reps of one song. And I always had had a solo during it. And each time he would, come back, say something to the whole band, and then say something to me. And, it just, those two gentlemen had a way of making you feel like $100 or $1 million, actually, during rehearsal. And then when you got into that whole setting of being, in a performance setting, he made you feel like you were like royalty, and it was huge. Like royal blue was one of our colors. So, he always talked about that. And, when we'd walk into any place, he, she was just you were influenced by the way that they were and how they were, and they would play for you. Mr. Cook is a woodwind player. He was a very good clarinet player. And he also was a bagpipe player. So he would always play his bagpipes for us. And Mr. Webb was a low brass player. So anytime there was anything that you needed as far as like, playing wise and how to present yourself, they were very, very good about, just zeroing in on that and setting a really high precedent. I used to want to be a band director, and, I just had experience, when I was 16 and marching for a top 5 drum corps. And I decided, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But I still stayed in touch with them. They're both friends of mine on Facebook. So Austin, when you said that, you sometimes see them and talk to them, I was like, yeah, we all just kind of keep talking to each other. And yeah, Jacqueline, when you said you call him Mr. Yeah, I can't call Mr. Webb David. It just feels weird. Mm-hmm. I can't call Mr. Cook Leif. It just feels weird. So yeah, totally.
Funny, Nicole. I started off as a clarinet player also, and my band director was a clarinet player. He played the Philadelphia Orchestra. And so I'm listening to your story. I'm like, Boy, don't we parallel here.
Right? We all come together. It's a circle of band life. Yes.
See, your kids love you, Jacqueline.
So, okay, our last sectional before the final run, woodwinds are with Austin, and all the brass, you go with Jacqueline, and the trumpets, no mouthing off, okay? Jacqueline will tell us about it. We'll be right back. We'll be right back with What Are We Doing? And our gush and goes.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. You want to drink up On a Water Break Lost in Translation with Cynthia Bernard. Uncover the glitz and glamour of Twirlers with On a Water Break in Rhinestones, hosted by Lexi Duda. Get the insider scoop from the stands with On a Water Break from the Stands with Cindy Berry, aka Leander Mama, and join the band family in On a Water Break family style with Stephanie Click, plus much, much more to come. Make sure to follow us on social media at On a Water Break for all the latest updates and bonus content. Got something to share or a burning question? Email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. So don't be the person that doesn't tell their friends about a water break. Make sure everyone stays hydrated. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
Okay, everyone, it's the time of the week where we go off against something that's been bugging us in the marching arts world, and we're calling it What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
All right, Trish.
Okay, I hope I don't offend anybody here. I don't know if any of your shows are doing this. The lights. What are we doing with the lights in these guard shows? So while it can be I feel like there's so many people using lights now that it's just not as unique as it was. It's like, for example, at the Bethlehem Regional, it was like, here come more lights. And while people are using them differently, and I have lanterns in my show at the end that light up my tent. I get it. We're all doing it. But it just becomes a little anticlimactic for me anyway, when it's like there's so many shows with lights. And I'm also interested to see how that's all going to play out in Dayton with those bigger venues. And is it going to be as impactful in, it's yet to be seen. We're seeing it in high school gyms now. But has anybody else had any thoughts on the lights and the use of lights in so many guard shows this year?
As someone that's using lights,
I am too.
Who's not using
we're
lights?
we're doing a rock concert, so we kind of need the lights.
It makes sense.
And we just added more lights into the show this week, so I like it, but I think it's got to be right, and I think it's got to be purposeful.
Yeah, definitely.
I think percussion has been using lights for quite some time now.
Too long.
In percussion. But what I have, just personal experience with that, you have to have a show that can stand on its own when your lights don't work.
There you go.
That is a real possibility. So if I will be totally lost about your show when your lights don't work, because it's gonna don't use the lights or do something else.
Or plan B, right?
In there.
I haven't seen a lot of shows like that, but now I'm thinking, and I have seen them in the past. Have I seen them this season? No.
Correct. Me same. Me either.
Especially, and I would feel bad when something glitches.
And you can see the horror on the kids' faces.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes a while to learn a design like that. It doesn't work, doesn't matter.
Right.
It takes a long time for people to learn a design like that.
Listen, my favorite action shot from Bethlehem of my kids was the one with the tent at the end lighting up. I get it. We're all doing it. And I'm even starting to rethink, is it starting to get anticlimactic after a while? You know what I mean? But we'll have to see, how it plays out in Dayton. And go from there.
Right. I mean, people are going to want to push the envelope at some point because, you know, it's like, okay, what are we doing? Are we doing lights?
Right.
Are we doing, you know, say if we go a little further, are we doing fire? You know, can we? No, maybe. I don't know. You know, so I get you. All right, Stephanie.
What's been on my feed a lot this week is WG Icon started their pre-registration this week, and it's in San Francisco this year, Labor Day weekend. And I attended last year or 2 years ago, I guess it was, when it was in New Orleans. I had never been before. WGI back in the day, I'm going to date myself with how old I am, used to do a convention almost every year. It's actually where I met my husband. But I did go to WGI
There you go.
last time. And so be careful. If you go to WGI, you better be careful what you sign.
Aloha.
But I will say, even as somebody who has taught for 30 plus years, I left there not only inspired, but it was really interesting to hear people just, you know, go to the sessions, do whatever. So if you have Labor Day weekend open and you can find yourself a cheap flight, I'm going to say you should go. I will go again. They're starting to put out this week who the speakers are. And it's been I'm really excited. It looks like a lot of new people and not a lot of repeat sessions, but also a lot of people that I don't know, which I think we can all learn from each other. So that's
yours is kind of like, what are we doing by not going to WGI Con?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
What are you going to
I think everyone should go. I mean, honestly, if you've never, this gives you a reason to go out west.
That's right.
Right. Like I've never been. I mean, I've never been to San Diego.
Oh, it's
I went to WGI in San Diego.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's not been better since, right?
Yes. Love it.
All right, Austin, what are we doing?
I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people about this topic. What are we doing not putting or getting rid of technique blocks 3/4 of the way through our season? I've been hearing a lot of stories about that this past winter and fall season. It's crunch time. People want to fill their shows. People want to do all that stuff. But in the end, the best trained performers are going to go get the results that are most desired, right?
100%. Yeah.
Like you have to schedule your technique time every single day. Like like my group, we are doing technique. We are doing basics on finals morning. It is going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
We have to.
I don't understand people doing that. Like, oh, it's okay. We don't have to do technique block. And it's just like, I'm sorry. There's a foundation for everything. And that's your foundation. And I take it back to like ballet dancers. Like
exactly.
Professional ballet dancers. They're just like, okay, I'm going to do about an hour of technique.
They go to the bar every single day. You know?
Exactly.
That's right. Your band's going to warm up every day. You just don't stop.
Yeah, sure, warm-ups are warm-ups, but like people are just like, oh, I'm just going to do a quick 5-minute, 10-minute warm-up, and then all of a sudden we're going to change half our show. And what are you going to how are you going to give them the changes in your show if you're not teaching them the skills and technique block? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
my biggest gripe of the week. Like, trust your technique, go with your technique program, because that's how you're going to get the results in your show.
Yeah.
That's what people jump into, like, oh, it's crunch time. I've got to do this with my show. And it's just like, yeah, you do. But also, too, like, honestly, we all know this. Being in band, you start to, like, really think about how you're prioritizing your time, you know, and really think about what you need to do in the rehearsal. And honestly, what do you do at the beginning of it? Like when I was teaching, I always gave, we always had a rundown of what was going on for the beginning of the rehearsal. And the kids knew it. And they come into rehearsal and they're like, okay, so first we stretch or first we condition, then we stretch, and then we do our body warm up, and then we get in flag block, and then we bust out into this. Like they already knew, you know? And then that way, when we get into rehearsal mode, they're already in the zone. So yeah, Austin, good one.
Here's my hot take, my last take on this subject. This is a really hot one, and I'm sorry if I offend anyone. If you trust your technique program, you won't have to change half of your show midway through the season.
This.
I love it. Okay. Woody, what are we doing?
What are we doing? I have to tell you, I'm a little annoyed at directors that at the last minute decide to pull their group from a show. I was supposed, right? Sad sound. I was scheduled to judge this weekend, and there was about 10 groups that were going to be there, and then it ended up being 4. Like, why do you do that to the sponsor? You know, a lot of people have put time into having a show, and you know, the younger instructors who do this, they don't realize, like, when you make that decision, I know you're thinking about the competitive part of your program, but you didn't think about the further reach of how it affected the band programs who, you know, the band parents who have spent all this time, energy, and the money that was invested in it, and you just call and say, oh, we're not coming.
There's no rule in place. Like, you can't, like in the main circuit here in New Jersey, you can't, you get penalized if you pull out of a show without 10 days notice.
There should be, but then, you know, once that ripple effect starts, I guess then people just decide, I'm not coming. You know?
Wow.
And that what you're saying, Trish, has always sort of kind of been, even back in the day, you know, with the tournament of bands programs. That's where I first started. And
well, that's what I was just going to bring up, because my independent group is going to a TIA show Saturday in Barnegat, which is like an hour and a half from us. And it's my independent group. So we're all driving. The kids are driving. The younger students, the parents are driving. I'm not as worried about that. But we're supposed to get soaking, flooding rain in New Jersey on Saturday. And I have kids driving. I have to drive my little car. And you know, all day today I was thinking to myself, man, I wish we could pull out of this show, but we can't because it's not within 10 days and we need the show for Wildwood. We need to do 4 shows. So we're trekking down there. I mean, it's supposed to be 2 to 3 inches of rain in New Jersey. And if it was the high school team and we were all on the bus together, I wouldn't be as worried, but we're all driving. And I'm a little bit, you know, I'm like, it's making me nervous.
No, you should be.
But we got to go. We're going. We committed to it. We're going. But, you know, it is giving me pause.
Dang.
So that bothered me this week, Nicole.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing if, like, there's a couple, like, if, like, the flu's going around a circuit and something like that, and, like, 3/4 of the kids are, like, sick. And obviously you don't want to show up with your kids coughing and headache, and that's totally different. But like pulling out because maybe you don't think you're ready or something like that, or when are you ever going to be like? Let's be real. Like, let's be real here. Are you ever going to be ready? Like, come on.
At this point in the season, you shouldn't be pulling out of a show.
Exactly. Give your kids more performance opportunities, please. That's what they signed up for. They didn't sign up for more rehearsals.
Well, a lot of people don't think that way sometimes, you know. It's sort of like your technique thing you're just saying. They sacrifice the technique for the extra time to do reps. But like you said, had you focused in the beginning, you wouldn't need to focus so much at the back end.
Yeah. Prioritizing your time.
There you
go. I am picking up what you're putting down, Woody. Picking it up. Whitney, what are we doing?
I only
besides
have...
getting pizza off of them.
Yeah, my dog's working on that. I am still on this WGI regional like boycott. I have never, and I'm probably gonna get canceled for this, but it's fine. Well, I have never had such terrible experiences at WGI regionals as we did this year. Like horrible, messing up our. They messed up our music. About 60% of our regional performances had 0 issues with it in the circuit. Just like not great hosts. I mean, we had, I talked about it after the Austin regional, lights going out during performances, them just being, they were just so rude at that host school. Stephanie was there. I'm just so disappointed in the regional experience this year. Like, just top to bottom. I really wish we had not done any regionals this year, and they won't be getting our money next year because it was just so crappy. Like, the kids don't want to, I don't want to. It was just not a good experience, and so they're not getting our money next year. But I don't know. That's what are we doing about making the show host for regionals better prepared, better equipped, actually hiring people instead of getting volunteers for the sound table and announcing. Like, that was just such a crap show this weekend again, where they're hitting play early on people's shows. They played somebody else's music for my JV guard, played my varsity show, my JV's music for my varsity.
You did another regional and all this happens again?
Yes. This past weekend we were at San Antonio. And they
goodness.
They messed up my JV's music and my varsity's music on Saturday, and it was only correct on Sunday because I played it on my own on my phone. It was the only reason it was correct. So like the scores at the regional were like incredibly low. Like, we dropped 5 points from Saturday to Sunday. That should not be a thing ever. It was like one of our lowest scores of the season. It just like that they just didn't. They didn't. It wasn't right. I don't know. I just was really disappointed with the regionals this year.
To have it back to back like that too, that's stress. Before you even get there, there's stress in signing up for it. There's money, that you have to worry about
expensive.
it. You add to that. And then you get to the show site and you're having to worry about, well, not worry about, but that's going to add on to the stress of the day, how people are treating you. Like, as you walk into the door, whoever is volunteering that day needs to be like, hey, how you doing? Making that interaction the easiest thing they do of the day. It should be. And then you have to go through, okay, you're playing the wrong music. Like, honestly, if you can check maybe more than 4 things off a list that somebody did wrong, I don't like that for you.
But wait, aren't they just taking it all off Cobb Suite? Like, how are they missing out on that?
It's the difference between someone who's trained to do it and knows what they're doing, and then a volunteer.
Right.
Yeah. And it was so clear that they were volunteers when she was announcing on Sunday for retreat, and she could not pronounce Zildjian. She couldn't even try. It was Zilda Jan, I think is what she said. And then instead of Demulin, she said Demulin or something. Like, it was like, you don't even know these sponsor names. Like, why are you doing this? You are not qualified for this. Like, you can't pronounce any of these names that the rest of us know.
Whitney, I have a question for you. Are you bitter?
Very.
Are you bitter, Whitney?
Very. I'm like, the bitterness is pouring out of every orifice of my body. I'm over it.
Yeah, but you're right to do.
Yes, we pay so much money. The regionals are so expensive, and we had terrible experiences.
Dude, this is a small thing, but at the same time, like, you just think about a person. Like, if you have a name that needs to be somebody tell you how to say it, then you want to make sure you get that right. Like, whenever I'm doing a tape and I'm like, a school comes up that has a name that is very, like, when I go to judge in Louisiana, there's a lot of like French names for schools.
Right.
Yes. We'll always lean over to the next judge and be like, how do you say this? Because I'm not going to do my intro and butcher this at all. I don't know. That grinds my gears for you. Like, my skin's crawling a little bit.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Okay. All right, Jacqueline, you've heard the way that we do this now. So I'm going to ask you.
Make it ugly. Make it ugly, Jacqueline.
I got to pick my words wisely because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
I mean, go ahead.
It's going to kind of be related to Whitney's in a way, like, training, not having rather training your volunteers. So, like, what are we doing when we have new systems that you don't train your judges on and you end up going 3 competitions with no tapes?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you, no excuse for that. But, this competition suite is, I don't know, I just feel like they need a better way, something a little bit more stable. I mean, I'm not saying go back to...
It's not perfect. Like,
no, it's not.
Yes, everything comes from competition suite. That doesn't mean it's not going to bug out or someone's files are going to get lost in space. Like, it's not perfect.
It bugs out. Nothing like the cassette tape.
No cassette tapes.
The cassette tape.
But I would hope they're still figuring it out. Like they would like have a backup of some way. Like if you know it's glitchy of some form, like double record it in some way. So that way you can at least go back to the old way if it's not going to work on Competition Suite.
Because everything, and honestly, I think all of you know this too, in every school, the majority of schools, it's really hard to get on their internet. And you need the internet to get to Competition Suite. So first of all, nail that stuff down. Make sure we have routers everywhere so that that's not a problem.
I just use my hotspot. I just bypass all that. I make the donation.
Well, and that's good for you, but I think that the people that are running the program, like running the show, who are having Competition Suite, and like they need to make sure that that's something that is not going to be, hit or miss in some places and stuff. I mean, and as a judge, because like I'll come in and we have our meeting, and it's just like, oh, can you get on the Wi-Fi? And it's just like, well, can you tell us what the Wi-Fi is? And then after you get on it, it's just like, hang on, it's not registering. Like, what do we do? What do we do? So, Jacqueline, I completely get that.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Touch and go.
Oh, I'll go first. I'm just going to say that I had a fantastic weekend last weekend. As we had that whole conversation about band directors, I have a program that they don't have a prep band kind of thing. I took 3 kids to 2 drum shows this weekend, and they got to see the full spectrum from regional A to world-class drumline. So, and they had never seen a competitive drumline show before, and I felt real good about it because someone did that for me also.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I had one gush and go, but when Austin was speaking about the technique block, triggered another one in my head. So at Northern Valley, we have this little club guard, and it's really open to middle school students because we don't allow middle school students in the high school programs. So it's open to middle school students or high school students that don't want to commit to the full Winter Guard season, or the high school students who are in the Winter Guard program that just want to come hang out with their friends. So it hasn't been working well as currently constituted recently, because we only have like 2 middle schoolers interested, 1 high school girl that can't do the Winter Guard because she's involved in musical and stuff like that. So she just comes to the club guard for an hour on Fridays. So I keep saying to the kids, because we're so into the competitive season, that hour before rehearsal we could be spending on our show as opposed to doing the club guard. So I'm kind of like, every week I'm kind of like, who's coming for club guard? Like, should we not do it this week? And turns out that this coming Friday, tomorrow night, is the junior prom, and it's the middle school musical, so none of them are coming. So I was like, I don't know, what should we do, guys? Should we not have club guard? Should we just come in early, work on the high school guard, an extra hour? That would be great. And my freshman weapon boy comes over and says to me, hey, Trish, I have a really good idea. And he goes, and I said, what's that? He goes, can we just do weapon clinic? Like, how did he phrase it? Weapon training or something like that for that hour. And I was like, middle school kids get trained on weapon. Check. Yeah. High school kids do their tech block before rehearsal. Check. The kids in the high school guard that are flags that want to do weapon and been doing club guard to learn weapon. Check. So I said, you know what, Ben? I said, that's a fantastic idea. So that's what we're going to do.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Stephanie, what are you gushing about? Besides Hawaii, but you can actually talk about Hawaii.
Hawaii is good. And I got to go last weekend to the Atlanta Percussion Regional. I don't a spectator very often, but I did. And there are some really cool percussion shows this year. If you have not checked them out on Flow, or you're not going to Dayton, like, you're really missing out. There are some great groups. And Sunday, I'm taking that exact same flight back, and I'm going to the Atlanta Guard Regional. So I'm really excited to see some groups that I don't normally see. So that is my gush and go. I'm excited that I'm able to get out and see some things outside of Texas.
That's awesome. And I just want to do a shout out to you. Congratulations to MC.
Thank you. MC.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They won. So I saw that, and Congratulations. I saw that on Josh Nelson's Facebook. I went to high school with him. I don't know if you knew that or not. We marched in marching band together. Yeah. I used to tower over him.
Oh,
if you can believe that too.
He played bass drum in my wedding. We had the Mystique bass drums, tuned bass drums played Here Comes the Bride down the aisle because that's only 5 pitches. And so I came down the aisle to that. But Josh was one of those bass drummers.
Oh, my goodness.
I love that so much.
Aloha. Jeez.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Love him. And I used to work with Don at Monarch. So, I love everything he does.
I respect that.
Let's see. Jacqueline, what do you have to gush and go about?
I'm not going to make it personal. I'll just say I have to gush and go about the determination and resiliency of just band students in the first place. Like I mentioned how we just came back from Disney and we're getting like right back into rehearsals and going into competitions, and there have been 0 complaints. So just the fact that these kids everywhere are amazing.
Aww. We love our kids. We love our kids. Woody, what do you have to gush about?
I have to gush and go about my new group that I work with. This is their first year coming out, Indoor Drumline. And, anytime you try to start a new program, it never starts off the way the people dreamed it was going to happen.
Right on brand.
They have 7 kids. They broke a 70 this weekend.
There you go.
There you go. 7 kids. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's their name?
Mission Independent. Mission Independent. From Pennsylvania, Horsham, Pennsylvania. The staff was worried, but I said, just do your thing. You're not judged on your size. And I constantly tell the kids, it's not size, it's quality. We're always so hung up in size. And I know this goes back a long time ago, but after I saw the Erte production color guard thing, my life was changed. They had 8 kids and they won WGI, what is now world class, with 8 kids when everyone was sporting 42, 48 kids in the color guard. And it changed how I perceived the thing. So I'm like, just go with it. Quality, not size.
Right on. Austin?
Horizon Winds, that's the group that I work with. We're independent. We are Winds Independent World. I'm the visual caption head there. We have our family and friends show at Braden River High School in the Bradenton area on Saturday, April 13th at 5 p.m. So if you are in the greater Central West Florida, Tampa, Sarasota-ish area, please come on down. Completely free. We would love to have your support in everything. And we would love to just get as many people out to that gym as we possibly can before we go off to our circuit championships on Sunday, the next day.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
I swear, like those shows when people are like, come and see our friends and family show. I'm like, this is like the best time to see a fully done show right before, because the kids are like, they're just feeling it. They're wanting to perform more before they get onto the big stage. So I love
pressure for them. No competition pressure at those
Exactly.
times.
Speaking of no competition pressure shows, there is, so for the people who are going to be in Dayton for percussion weekend, there is a Winds showcase happening at Miamisburg High School on the Thursday before. Let's see, what would the date on that be? I think, if I'm not mistaken, it would be April 18th. That is at Miamisburg High School starting at, I want to say 6 p.m. Don't quote me on that. Maybe 5, maybe 6. Something like that. So there's going to be 8 groups just doing an exhibition performance in the Miamisburg High School gym, just having fun. And just performing for one another too. So everyone's in the gym watching each other's shows, so we can get a run in front of a really big crowd, and we're not getting judged. We're just going nuts for each other. I don't remember the groups. It's so awesome. Last year was the first year that we did it. It was fantastic. That was probably the most fun I had the entire weekend. Just being on staff, just watching everybody else's shows, no pressure. They're just going. going out there and having fun, and everyone's just going nuts for him.
When I was marching, I would have loved to have done that.
WGI Guard did used to do that. I don't know if they still do.
I remember when I was marching that you could go, like the World Guards at least, you had like 15 minutes, I guess you could say, inside of UD Arena. Like, and it was just the World Guards. And then some of them sat in the, in the stands and watched other World Guards go.
It was like world-class practice. Wasn't it called world-class practice?
Yeah.
The drum lines did something similar too, but it got so out of hand that they had to shut it down. That's why I was excited to hear the Austin thing that they let you do that. When United, you had to get an invitation first off. And when we first got our first time hit with the big boys, the kids were so amped. It was such a fabulous time. So I'm excited to hear that that's still going on.
Great. All right, Whitney?
I'm going to gush and go about kind of what Jacqueline was talking about, just like how kids are resilient and you just come back from spring break and they're just ready to go. And my kids specifically have been through a lot this year, and they haven't given up, and they're just they're awesome, and my cadet guard just got third place at championships on Saturday, so that was exciting. And we've got area this weekend, and it's the push to the end. It's everybody it's quickly winding down, so everybody's just got a few more weeks left. And I bought my plane tickets to WGI today, even though I'm mad at them as an organization.
Yeah,
I'm still going.
Tell us how you really feel, Whitney.
Okay, well, my gush and go, my gush and go, I have to say, is I'm actually going to be judging my first championships. I know. I'm super pumped about it. It's the Nebraska circuit. So I started judging in this circuit last year. And so I would just do like maybe 1 to 2 shows. And it was actually in the Nebraska circuit where I was on a full female panel for the very first time. Yeah. And it still hasn't happened again yet. And so I was just like, why is this such an anomaly? It shouldn't be. But I will tell you, it was a great, great thing. So I'll be doing that, and I'll be super excited about it.
Yeah. Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
All right, y'all. I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thanks for a great rehearsal this week. I want to say thank you to our host, Woody, Trish, Stephanie, Austin, Whitney, and thank you, Jacqueline. Where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on TikTok, That Band Teacher Lady, and Instagram under the same name, and technically YouTube, but nothing's there.
Okay. Well, definitely check her out, y'all. She's funny. Funny. All right. So one more thing. Don't forget, we have our YouTube channel on now. So many of our interviews that are coming out, the full video editions will be on YouTube. So go and subscribe there and don't miss out on those. And before you close out of this podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, share it with your friends, follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Now go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.